So, as everybody knows by now, the liberals are absolutely losing their mind about Donald Trump and Elon Musk and what's going on at the USAID. Um, this is absolutely insane to me. They've been uncovering just vast amounts of waste and spending, and it's got the liberals absolutely, I mean, they are just beyond mad right now. And the reason they're mad is because the liberals are on the grift. This is how they're making millions of dollars off $147,000 a year, these Congress people. This has turned into nothing but a slush fund for their pet projects and their kickbacks. And the problem is now Donald Trump and Elon Musk is getting into it, and they're starting to find out the truth. And it's pissing the liberals off because they're getting ready to get exposed for all the fraudulent activities that they have been doing all over the world and the amount of money they've been spending and wasting of our taxpayer hard-earned money they've been spending and wasting. And when I say waste, when I read this list, it is absolutely baffling. And this is what I've uncovered so far on this list. Now, what they're wanting to do is Donald Trump just wants to get rid of it. And I don't blame him. It needs to be shut down completely. There's no reason for this to exist. There's over 10,000 employees at USAID, and most of them are around the world. They're living in Peru. They're living in France. They're living in England on our dime. And this has gotten absolutely insane. And what Donald Trump has done is he said, hey, we will give you a plane ticket. You're being laid off. We will fly you back to the United States. You got 30 days. If you don't do it, then you know what? Where you are is where you are. And in my opinion, let them stay. Because these people know about the absolute waste and the worthless work they are doing. And they seem to be okay with this. And it's gotten absolutely insane what is going on. So luckily, Donald Trump put Elon Musk and his stable of geniuses in it, and they are uncovering all kinds of things that you're getting ready to be stunned when I read this list, and you're going to understand immediately why the liberals are so mad about this. And the funny thing is really there's not a whole lot going on about this on the legacy liberal shill networks. Very few are talking about this because they've been in collusion with the Democrats to cover up the wasteful spending that is going on here. And like I said, this is how you go in making $147,000 a year. You spend 8 years in Congress, and then you come out worth $50 million. This is how this is going on. And that is why the liberals are extremely mad. So by the time I get through reading this list, if you are still a Democrat or still a liberal, then you are part of the problem, because this is absolutely insane what is going on. So I'm going to start reading down this list, and get ready for this. And if this doesn't make you mad, then you are simply not an American. Talk about the waste. Here we go. $50 million to fund condoms in Gaza. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia workplaces. $70,000 for the production of DEI musical in Ireland. $47,000 on a transgender opera in Colombia. $32,000 for a transgender comic in Peru. $37 million to the WHO, that's $37 million wasted. $16 million in funding for institutional contractors and gender development offices. $4 million of funding for the Center for Climate Positive Development. $12 million in support services to the Bureau for Resilience, Environment, and Food Safety. $6 million in non-emergency funding for Redundant Administrative Support Center of Excellence. $3 million in non-emergency funding to provide evaluation services for planning and learning programs. $600,000 to fund technical assistance for family planning in the Latin America State Department. $1.5 million to advocate diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. $2.5 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam. $2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for nonprofit linked to designated terrorist organizations even after an investigation was launched. $2+ million to EcoHealth Alliance involved in research at the Wuhan lab. Hundreds of thousands of meals that went to Al-Qaeda affiliated fighters. Funding to print personalized contraceptive birth control devices in developing countries. $16.8 million to support equitable outcomes and inclusion in Vietnam. $8.3 million for the equity and inclusion education. $7.9 million to teach Sri Lanka journalists to avoid binary gender language. $6.3 million to study men having sex with other men in South Africa. $20 million for producing an Iraqi version of Sesame Street. $520 million for ESC, environmental, social, and governance consultants in Africa. $45 million for Bari shootership in Burma. Whatever that word is. I have no idea. I've never seen this word in my life. $16.8 million to support equitable outcomes and inclusion in Vietnam. $8.3 million for equity and inclusion education. $45 million for DEI scholarships in Burma. $2 million for Moroccan pottery classes. $2 million for promoting tourism in Lebanon. We sent Ukrainians to Paris for Fashion Week. That was great. $200 million plus to fund irrigation for the Taliban's poppy fields and heroin. $30 million for South African HIV/AIDS programs. $25 million for green transportation projects in Georgia. Now, I'm sure this list is going to go on longer and longer and longer, and this is what I've put together so far, which is quite the list. And this is absolutely insane to me, and I don't understand how anybody can get mad about this. Because you got to remember, it was the Democrats. They're always the ones screaming for change. We have to change things. We have to change it. So we vote in Donald Trump, who comes in and absolutely changes things, and then the Democrats instantly get upset about the change. And all the change that he's making is for the betterment of America. This is our money that's being sent around the world to promote DEI. And we saw what DEI has done here in America. I mean, it sent this country upside down on its head. I couldn't go anywhere without having to deal with some kind of DEI initiative, some kind of transgender language, some kind of he, she, him, her bullshit that was always in my face. And I'm in a red state because the big companies in my red state were pushing that initiative because the Biden administration was making them push that initiative. And how do I know that? Because the day Donald Trump gets in, signs an executive order to abolish DEI, companies start belling on it left and right because it's saving them millions of dollars by not having to push their DEI initiatives, by getting rid of it. Now, I'm kind of shocked that some companies like Costco is not getting rid of it. Costco is damn insistent on pushing their DEI initiatives. And in my opinion, Costco just needs to become the next Bud Light. Because here's how I look at this. DEI is a mental disorder. Transgenderism is a mental disorder. And if you really want to stump a liberal in their 568 genders, then ask them. So if there's 568 genders, then how come when you have a sexual reassignment surgery, you have one of two options, boy or girl? Absolutely amazing to me how these people think. And the other thing you got to remember is this, the USAID, their budgeting doubled from the time Donald Trump left office to the time Joe Biden left office. It more than doubled its budget. So as you can see, we're literally funding programs all over the world that has nothing to do with us. And we're funding things we simply don't want to fund. And what happened was Joe Biden, that Fruit Loop, got together with Macron over in France, that Fruit Loop, and people like Justin Trudeau, all these sissy boys, and God knows how many liberal sissy boys that are in government. And they all got together and thought, hey, this is going to be a great idea. Let's take this woke DEI initiative and let's spread it around the world like a plague. And how are we going to do that? We're going to pay for people to go over to these countries. We're going to set them up on fat salaries to live there to push our agenda. That's exactly what this is. And like I said, if you read this list, and by the end of this video, if you're still a Democrat or liberal and you are not pissed off, then you are the problem. Because I can assure you, every Republican, every conservative, every independent that watches this video and just heard this list, they're going to be mad. Because this is why we're always on the wrong side of the book. This is why we stay in the red. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is what Elon has found in a couple of weeks. And liberals be damned, boy, they are pissed off. They're wanting to burn the world down because they're getting exposed for all their wasteful spending. But this is what Elon has found in a couple of weeks. Just imagine what he's going to find in a couple more.